Hello guys and welcome back to BoroB's Football Banter Factory, and today we're just going to do a roundup of the international friendlies and then look ahead to Chelsea's next game, which is against the mighty, the dangerous, the bogey Newcastle United. And we haven't won at Newcastle for 2 years, and we usually don't win. But before we get to Newcastle, let's talk about some of the international games that happened last night. And we'll start with Croatia 2, Portugal 3. What you need to know about this is Croatia played with 10 men. In the first half, they played with 11. They led, surprisingly, because Portugal right now are a much better team. More importantly, 2 goals from that man, Mateo Kovacic. He scored 2 goals for Croatia. This was actually his first goal in 100 appearances for Croatia. And then he backed it up with another one. So 2 goals for Mateo Kovacic. And a losing effort, and Croatia don't look good right now. World Cup finalists, let's not forget, from 2018. They're looking pretty poor, piss poor, I'd have to say. Overall, their defense is in shambles. Midfield is still functioning, but they have lost a lot going forward. Perisic is older. I'm not sure if Mandzukic is playing anymore. But most importantly, that man, Mateo Kovacic, with 2 goals contributing, because he will be involved in the first team action. We're gonna get to the first team news, but I can tell you that Mateo Kovacic will definitely be involved for Chelsea this weekend. Some of the other games: France 4, Sweden 2. From a Chelsea perspective, Olivier Giroud with a double. Now, speaking of Giroud, seeing as we're already here talking about Oli, he has apparently, there's been some reliable sources saying that he wants to move on from Chelsea in January unless he gets improved game time. Now, I've been anticipating this. I've been expecting this because someone of Giroud's caliber, who's chasing that record that Henry has for France, Oli G, wants to have that record. He's been such a reliable striker for France, and let's be honest, for Chelsea as well. He wants first team action, and this is a tricky situation because he is kind of one of the players that gives our squad a good look because of the depth. You know, you can bring up Giroud off the bench, and that's something not many other teams can say they have. We have a target man, a very good target man who can hold the ball up, who can head the ball, and who can make a difference when we're losing a game, definitely. And when he's not there, it limits our options. Not necessarily by, like, we still have options, but what I mean is we don't have a target man like him. Abraham is more of a scorer, even though he's a target man. He likes to get in behind and score goals. And we know what Werner is like. He's a different kind of player. So that's something tricky, and that's something Lamps might have to figure out, because by January, if we're in the title picture, then we might need Giroud, or we might need an option from the bench. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with regards to Giroud. But yeah, he does want to move out, and he wants, I believe, to go to Marseille to get first team opportunities so that he can keep his place for France. I think he's going to keep his place for France regardless. He's definitely going to the Euros. And now the big result, the shocking result of the day: Spain 6. Yes, that's right, 6. Germany 0. Not even, statistically. Let me put it to you. This is a worse result than Brazil 7, Germany 2. Germany 7. Brazil 2. Reason being, Germany lost by 6 clear goals, and this was a one-way annihilation of the highest order. I watched the whole game, and oh my God, this was unbelievable, guys. This is crazy. Like, I was shocked at how amateur Germany were going forward, just trying to, not just going forward, the whole team. They didn't seem like a team. For me, Germany now are equivalent, a lot similar, but probably worse, because I don't think they have a lot of mental strength, Germany, which is so surprising because we're talking about Germany. Like Argentina have a great attack, an overload of fantastic attacking players. That's what I see in Germany. They have Sané, they have Gnabry, they have Werner, Havertz, others as well. But what they don't have is a steady midfield. Goretzka was so poor. Gundogan, Goretzka, Cruz, that was possibly the worst midfield, maybe the worst midfield from a supposed elite team that I've seen all season, club and country. awful, absolutely shockingly bad. Like Tony Cruz, instead of making comments about other players, he should be going to the MLS and start play there because that's his level right now. The only thing he should be doing is going to MLS. He's not good enough for this standard of football anymore. He has been an amazing football player. His legacy is already there, but it's time for him to think about MLS and maybe China or Japan or end his football. Maybe come here in Asia and try and end his career here because he's not good enough. He's not good enough anymore to play for the national team of Germany. He's absolutely not good enough. And what angers me is the selective treatment of Joachim Low towards certain players. Like Tony Cruz, despite being crap for over 2 years for Germany, he plays every single international break, he gets picked. Thomas Muller doesn't get picked. Boateng doesn't get picked. The player they need the most, Mats Hummels, he doesn't get picked. Marco Reus, I'm not sure what happened to him, he doesn't get picked. These experienced veteran players who can actually help this team are nowhere to be seen. And you've got this random team of random players, just no balance in the team. There's no defensive midfielder who has legs. Tony Cruz is so slow. Our turtle could outrun him. Honestly, I honestly think our turtle could outrun him. Gundogan, who's also very slow, and he's so slow, like so one-paced. Like Spain with Fabio Ruiz and Koke, who are not exactly the quickest players themselves. They press hard. They're hard-working for sure, and they're technically very gifted. They ran rings around Germany. They controlled the midfield. They made Germany look so ordinary, and they were just, the stats don't lie. Check out the stats. It's phenomenally bad. It's astonishing. 70% possession for Spain. They had 23 shots. Germany had 30% possession. This is amateur. You know what this is like? This is like if you meet up with 4 or 5 of your friends who you haven't seen in like 2 or 3 years, and you're like, let's go to the local park. 5 of us will team up and we'll take on whoever's playing there. And you come across a team who's been playing for weeks, and they're trained, they're together, they have a chemistry. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like amateur football, like a bunch of guys who don't know each other. And Germany really need to sack Joachim Low. In my opinion, he's done. He's done. He's won the World Cup, sure, but that's the past. And his legacy's been made. But from now, he's done, and he has to be sacked. Once he's sacked... Once he's sacked, they can decide who they can get. Because let me tell you, I've seen Germany teams in the past. Let's go back from 2002, 2006. They've had squads that were not packed with talent, as opposed to, let's say, Brazil, England, Italy, France, and all these other teams. But what they had was a togetherness, a chemistry, a desire to win, and a fantastic leader in Michael Ballack at the time. And what they don't have now, they don't have a leader, they don't have a defense, they don't have any chemistry, and there's no link. Like there's no progression in terms of how do we move the ball from defense to attack, to midfield to attack. What's the transition going to be like? What's their style of play going to be like? It's very random, and it's all it sees. And they're playing a back three with like strange options. They're not like every coach that you see play with a back three. There's a balance. The person who's in this central of the back three, center back, the central center back is usually the passer of the ball. The ones on the side are athletes. Sometimes a fullback will play as one of the wide center backs, and then the wing backs are usually wingers who are focused on trying to attack. Who are wingers who have some physical qualities, like Moses, like Kandreva, players like that. And on the left, it's usually a wing back who's known for attacking. And that's something that Germany don't have. It was Philip Max, I think, and he was astonishingly poor. And I don't know if he's that bad, but he looked really bad. I wouldn't say that he's that bad, but right now they're not being coached properly. And they need to move on from Low, and they need to make a decision fast. And once they make that decision of sacking Low, which is inevitable, I think that's inevitable. I can't believe that any other elite team would stick with a manager for so long after so many inconsistent results. Since the 2014 World Cup, it has been like they qualified for the 2018 World Cup comfortably, but that since the performances in the World Cup, it's been a downward spiral, and I don't see any improvement in their performance. Slow, lethargic, everything you don't want in a team. Predictable. The midfield is too one-paced, very one-paced, and Toni Kroos seems like he belongs in a retirement home already. That's Spain and Germany, and with they should be looking at a younger manager, maybe Julian Nagelsmann. Maybe he's not interested right now. Maybe he's interested in club football. But I'm pretty sure there are options that they can explore, because Joachim Low is not the guy to take them forward, in my opinion. He's clearly lost the dressing room. And we've got someone like Toni Kroos. He keeps saying, mumbling nonsense words about other players, talking about Aubameyang celebration, criticizing Ozil, criticizing other players, while he himself has just not done anything apart from laying eggs for the last 2 years. The only thing he should do right now is have some self-dignity and retire, because he's not good enough for Germany. Moving on to some of the other results, let's look at the South American qualifications. Another man of the match performance by that man, Goat Watch, Thiago Silva, with another magnificent performance. A couple of magnificent performances in the international break. Amazing how this guy doesn't get injured, but when you see him play, he doesn't overextend himself. He doesn't do anything that's deemed risky or can potentially injure him, which is so far so good. And knock on wood, we keep it that way. But a clean sheet again, and a comfortable win for Brazil. They look good right now. 4 wins out of 4. And they're qualifying. Argentina with a win against Peru. So both Argentina and Brazil are in the top 2 of the South American qualifiers for the World Cup. And it looks good. Like Brazil, I would expect them once again to be one of the favorites. But they've had major issues in the knockout rounds in the World Cup since 2010. They've had strong teams. I remember that 2010 team was quite strong. I remember the 2018 team was quite strong. But they have those one-off nights where it costs them a lot. And for that not to happen, they'll have to be completely focused, and they'll have to make sure that players like Thiago Silva don't get suspended. Players like Fabinho, Casemiro, these Douglas Luiz, some of their first choice CDMs, the defensive base of the team cannot get suspended, because last time around Casemiro missed the game and they lost to Belgium. We know when Thiago Silva missed, they conceded 7, and then before that, I remember 2010. There were no suspensions, but they capitulated. They should have been 2-0 ahead by the first half. They were in cruise control, and then in the second half, a couple of set plays, and they were then chasing the game. And these are things that Brazil has to work on in terms of squad depth, in terms of options. They have plenty. I would say they have the second best team in the world after France in terms of overall squad depth. Brazil look good, and Argentina, even though they win, they don't look particularly good. They're still very reliant on Leo Messi. And I don't expect Argentina to be competitive in the World Cup. But I do expect the Copa America coming up is huge for Messi and for Argentina. Massive opportunity for them to get some belief and bet some of the younger players into this national setup. Because I would think that the next World Cup is probably Messi's last major tournament for Argentina and his last chance to win the World Cup. And that's probably the only thing that's missing in his career. In fact, that is. I mean, he could win another Champions League. That would be his 5th, I believe. But more than anything, to solidify his legacy, he has to win the World Cup. Not even a Copa America would solidify his legacy. It would improve it for sure. But the problem with Argentina is, no matter how good Messi is, we've seen in tournaments prior to this, it's not one individual that wins you a tournament. It's always the team. And the strongest team usually wins the big tournaments. There are exceptions where Portugal beat France, where Portugal was weaker than France, but it wasn't an individual thing. There was no one player that was better than everyone. Cristiano was amazing, for sure, but there was Renato Sanchez, there was other players, the defense, Pepe, Rui Patricio. There were a lot of good players. Rui Patricio, João Moutinho as well. So they have Portugal, for sure, this time around. They have a better team than Argentina, for sure. They'll be one of the favorites, I would think, in the Euros and in the World Cup. But now, done with internationals now. Let's move on and look at Newcastle United. Newcastle are playing Chelsea. So let's have a look at Newcastle's recent form. So yeah, Newcastle they've lost to Manchester United recently. They drew against Wolverhampton. They beat Everton 2-1, big result, and then they lost convincingly to Southampton. Now they're at home against us. They are usually a bogey team. Remember last year, it was one-way traffic, and then they scored in the last minute when the entire game all they did was defend, and that's what happens in these games. And we'll have to look forward to. We'll have to be careful about Newcastle because they are a bogey team. My lineup would be as such: 4-2-3-1. Oh, sorry, scrap that. My lineup would be 4-3-3. Before I get to the lineup, I just want to tell you that Kai Havertz, Billy Gilmore, and Pulisic are missing for this game. They are the three that are injured. I don't think there are any other injuries of note. There was a question mark about Chilwell, but he's training again with England, therefore he's fit. So Chilwell will probably at the very least be on the bench, but I expect him to start. So getting now to the lineup, I'm going to go with Mendy in goal, Thiago Silva and Zuma making up the center backs. Fullbacks, I would go for Reece James and Chilwell. In midfield, I would start with N'Golo Kante and that central defensive midfielder role, Kovacic and Mason Mount. And then up front, I'd go for Warner, Tammy Abraham, and Hakim Ziyech. That would be my starting 11. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think about the starting 11. I think that lineup, no matter what team we come up against in terms of what Newcastle have to offer, they're going to play with a low block. They're going to try and attack on the counter with Alan Saint-Maxime and Almiron. I think we have more than enough, bro. We have more than enough to win this game, and we should be winning this game. We should be winning this game comfortably and taking 3 points to Stamford Bridge. I know we have a bad history there at St. James's Park. It's been one of our bogey grounds, but if we are serious for the title, if we want to compete to win the Premier League title, this is the kind of game we have to win. And I know that this is after the international break. There are a whole host of excuses, but we can't get into those excuses. We simply have to perform. And it's Frank's job to get the boys ready because they will be tired. And I believe Newcastle players, a lot of them will not have gone to international break. They will have had time off, so they will be well drilled, defensively solid, and we might have to be patient. It might get to 40, 50 minutes without a goal. But let's not make any unnecessary, unforced errors, and our quality ultimately will shine through. So I expect us to win. I'm going for a 3-1 to Chelsea. Let me know what you guys think about the prediction. I'm going 3-1 to Chelsea. The scorers, I'm going to say Timo to get one, Tammy to get one, and Mason Mount, the other one. So I'm going for 3-1 Chelsea with the scorers Mason Mount, Tammy, and Timo Werner. I hope it's enough. I just think that we'll concede because of the international break. These things happen usually after the international break. The team chemistry suddenly drops. But I just hope we can get away with 3 points. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think about the prediction, what you guys think about the game coming up, what you guys think about other games, what do you guys think about your teams who are going to play. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to get back to you after the game. Until then,